Today is October 14th. Welcome to Big Book Daily. My name is Rob. I am an alcoholic. It is a thrill, honor, and joy to be here with you today as we journey through the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous and the 12 Steps and 12 Traditions. Today out of the Big Book, we are going to continue our journey through Chapter 7, Working with Others. We'll be reading page 91. And out of the 12 and 12, we're on Step 12, page 116. And of course, we'll read the 24 hours a day and the daily reflection. So with that, I hope y'all are doing well this morning, my friends. A little peek behind the curtain here. I'm a little rusty doing this. This has been a hot minute since I've recorded a Big Book Daily episode. But I had to hop on here because today is my sobriety birthday. October 14th, 2025 marks 7 years going on one day at a time. And all I can say is it's not me. It is my higher power and the steps and the fellowship and listening to others far wiser than me is why I am grinning ear to ear early in the morning here. Because truly it is, it's 7 years, but honestly, it's just one day at a time. And that's a big reason why I love doing this podcast. And another peek behind the curtain too. Some of the episodes that you're about to hear for the remainder of the month were recorded way in advance. So I figured what better way to celebrate 7 years of sobriety is letting you all know that I have prayed diligently about the future of Big Book Daily. And for my own sobriety, I think I need to keep going. So even though you're going to hear, some future episodes from now till I guess December 31st, what we're saying the show's winding down, that is not necessarily true. Beginning in January 1st, Lord willing, the show will go on because I need it. It's helped, as I've said many times. I always hope that I could help one person out there in doing this podcast. That would be the service work. Well, the joke was on me. I think the person that helped more than anybody was me. And I want to just continue to do that for my own accountability. And I want to say thank you for all the emails. And again, in a very long-winded way, and I'm sorry, I'll get to the meat of this episode here in a second. I just want to say thank you. Thank you so much for putting up with me for almost nearly an entire year now. But anyway, the show must go on. Let's get to the good stuff. All right, my friends. So out of the Big Book, we're on page 91. But if you recall from yesterday's reading, we're talking about trying our best not to preach to anyone. I love one of the last lines we read yesterday. If he does not want to see you, never force yourself upon him. So we are going to build on that idea on page 91. Usually the family should not try to tell your story. When possible, avoid meeting a man through his family. Approach through a doctor or an institution is a better bet. If your man needs hospitalization, he should have it, but not forcibly unless he is violent. Let the doctor, if you will, tell him he has something in the way of a solution. When your man is better, the doctor might suggest a visit from you. Though you've talked with the family, leave them out of the first discussion. Under these conditions, your prospect will see that he is under no pressure. He will feel that he can deal with you without being nagged by his family. Call on him while he is still jittery. He may be more receptive when he's depressed. See your man alone if possible. At first, engage in general conversation. After a while, turn the talk to some phase of drinking. Tell him enough about your drinking habits, symptoms, and experiences to encourage him to speak for himself. If he wishes to talk, let him do so. You will get thus a better idea of how you ought to proceed. If he is not communicative, give him a sketch of your drinking career up to the time that you quit. But say nothing for the moment of how that was accomplished. If he is in a serious mood, dwell on the troubles liquor has caused you, being careful not to moralize or lecture. If his mood is light, tell him humorous stories of your escapades, and get him to tell some of his. When he sees that you know all about the drinking game, commence to describe yourself as an alcoholic. Tell him how baffled you were, how you finally learned that you were sick. Give him an account of the struggles you made to stop. Show him the mental twist which leads to the first drink of a spree. We suggest you do this as we have done it in the chapter on alcoholism. If he is an alcoholic, he will understand you at once. He will match your mental inconsistencies with some of his own. Out of the 12 and 12, we're on step 12. Having had a spiritual awakening as the result of these steps, we tried to carry this message to alcoholics and to practice these principles in all our affairs. Page 116. When we developed still more, we discovered the best possible source of emotional stability to be God Himself. We found that dependence upon His perfect justice, forgiveness, and love was healthy, and that would work where nothing else would. If we really depended upon God, we couldn't very well play God to our fellows, nor would we feel the urge wholly to rely on human protection and care. These were the new attitudes that finally brought many of us an inner strength and peace that could not be deeply shaken by the shortcomings of others, or by any calamity not of our own making. This new outlook was, we learned, something especially necessary to us alcoholics. For alcoholism had been a lonely business, even though we had been surrounded by people who loved us. But when self-will had driven everybody away, and our isolation had become complete, it caused us to play the big shot in cheap bar rooms, and then fare forth alone on the street to depend upon the charity of passers-by. We were still trying to find emotional security by being dominating or dependent upon others. Even when our fortunes had not ebbed that much, and we nevertheless found ourselves alone in the world, we still vainly tried to be secure by some unhealthy kind of domination or dependence. For those of us who were like that, AA had a very special meaning. Through it, we begin to learn right relations with people who understand us. We don't have to be alone anymore. "24 hours a day, October 14th. AA thought for the day. How big a part of my life is AA? Is it just one of my activities and a small one at that? Do I only go to AA meetings now and then and sometimes never go at all? Do I think of AA only occasionally? Am I reticent about mentioning the subject of AA to people who might need help? Or does AA fill a large part of my life? Is it the foundation of my whole life? Where would I be without AA? Is AA the foundation on which I build my life?" Meditation for the day. Lay upon God your failures and mistakes and shortcomings. Do not dwell upon your failures, upon the fact that in the past you've been nearer a beast than an angel. You have a mediator between you and God, your growing faith, which can lift you up from the mire and point you toward the heavens. You can still be reconciled with the Spirit of God. You can still regain your harmony with the divine principle of the universe. Prayer for the day. I pray that I may not let the beast in me hold me back from my spiritual destiny. I pray that I may rise and walk upright. Daily Reflection, October 14th. A program for living. When we retire at night, we constructively review our day. On awakening, let us think about the 24 hours ahead. Before we begin, we ask God to direct our thinking, especially asking that it be divorced from self-pity, dishonest, or self-seeking motives. Alcoholics Anonymous, page 86. I lacked serenity. With more to do than seemed possible, I fell further behind, no matter how hard I tried. Worries about things not done yesterday and fear of tomorrow's deadlines denied me the calm that I needed to be effective each day. Before taking steps 10 and 11, I began to read passages like the one cited above. I tried to focus on God's will, not my problems, and to trust that He would manage my day. It worked. Slowly, but it worked. All right, my friends, that concludes today's reading, and some great stuff as always. Once again, I can't just pick one, so I think these all are so applicable to some things that I can relate to. A very, very trusted friend of mine. I think I owe him some royalties for all the wisdom that I've passed on the show to him. But one of his most famous phrases for me was, always remember, all I have to do is rewind the tape to about 7 years ago. And it takes me right back to being in the kitchen with my wife, begging her to stay, and my newborn daughter, and my son was only about maybe a year and a half, 2 years old. Begging her to stay, looking in her eyes and saying, I will do whatever it takes, and at the same time being so afraid, like, what if I screw up again? I don't want to lose my family. But I had tried to stop drinking so many different times. I tried everything. All the things that the big book says, I've tried. I grin and I laugh now, right? Because I'm like, yep, I tried that. But on a serious note, I had tried everything to stop drinking that I could think of. And somehow the obsession of my mind would talk me into having a drink again. So I was desperate, and I knew for me something supernatural, something spiritual had to happen. I said, you know what, I will try one of these fellowships, and just please give me time. And I remember holding her arms and looking in her eyes and say, just, can you give me time? And she looked at me, and I could just imagine what she was thinking. And one of the most heartbreaking things is when you look into the eyes of the person you love the most, and you can tell they don't believe a word you're saying. And then going back to what my trusted friend said, always remember. So I fast forward, I go to the fellowships. I finally get a trusted friend to walk me through the big book, somebody far wiser than me. And then fast forward 1 year later from that kitchen moment, that my darkest moment of my life, honestly, where I was caught up in all my lies. Fast forward just 1 year later, going on one day at a time, and my wife looks me in the eye and says that she's proud of me and hands me my 1 year medallion in front of a fellowship of people that I had bared my soul to, and in front of a very trusted friend. No, I'm sorry, I'm getting teary-eyed just thinking about it. I went from the lowest moment of my life to one of the best moments of my life. Top 5 at least. And honestly, I couldn't have done it alone. The fellowship, when I finally darkened the door, tail tucked between my legs, the fellowship kept me going for a while. But then all the guilt and the shame and the remorse, now I'm feeling it, right? Because I don't have alcohol to drown that guilt and shame anymore. So finally, I had to work the steps. And continue to work the steps. And continue and continue and continue. I'm a slow learner. You could probably already tell. But by continuing to work these steps, 7 years later, going on one day at a time, by continuing to put in the reps, I've seen my higher power work wonders, not just in my life, but when I see newcomers come into the fellowships, or when I hear your story, when you reach out from Germany or the Netherlands or wherever I hear, it's incredible to hear all these higher power stories, these sobriety stories. You've experienced strength and hope. It bolsters my faith. It's just incredible. So as I sit here, October 14th, 2025, bright and early in the morning, I have a big smile on my face. And I just want to say that if you're sober, my friend, you're a miracle. And those who love you are very proud of you, and I'm proud of you because I know the struggle. And two, if you're not sober, my friend, you're still a miracle. And you are still worthy of recovery. And I hope you understand that. Get the help you need, and you don't have to do it alone. I've said it a million times. The very first word in the steps is we. But guys, I have preached enough. I am so sorry. This is probably the longest show on record. But again, I just want to say thank you so much for listening. Thank you for joining me in this lifeboat of recovery. And as always, I do not speak on behalf of AA, NA, Al-Anon, any other sect or denomination. I am just a friend in this lifeboat of recovery. Stay tuned. January 1st, we're going to, Lord willing, knock on wood, we're going to keep this show going one day at a time. But thank you so much. If we are given another set of 24 hours, my friend, I sincerely look forward to seeing you right back here tomorrow.